honest. I said, "Sir, you have a family?" He said, "Yes." "You got 3 kids?" He said, "Yes." "What would you do for your family? What would you pick?"
What's going on, everybody? My name is Trevor Yonitz, and you're watching The Next Course. It's a show about life's big transitions, all over small bites and apps inspired by our guest. Speaking of our guest, today we have someone who I am honored to call a friend. He's an amazing person, great character, entrepreneur, left this job that historically you probably should have retired out of, started your own stuff, became an entrepreneur, and now you get your hand in about 37 different things. Everybody, please welcome Rob Guzman. I am super happy to have you on, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks, man. That's probably one of the best intros I've ever had. I love it.
Buddy, thank you.
Don't deserve it, but I'll
You
take it.
deserve every bit of it, man. And that's the whole point of this
I'll take it.
podcast, man. We like hearing about the awesome stuff that you did, how you navigated these things, and really how you learned to deal with all of this at once, man. The things that life has thrown at you, man, and you're a man of wisdom and experience, and I love it, man. But before we get into all that, man, I made you some food.
It looks amazing.
Thank you. I hope it is
Amazing.
But I want you to be honest. So today we have maple Dijon glazed meatballs. Because I know you said meatballs were your favorite appetizer. Yeah,
They're great.
they're pretty good.
Love them.
They're pretty good. So this recipe is the first time for me making this version of it. I've had like the Italian meatballs, like with those are good. But I want to put a twist on it. A little sweet, a little savory, just a little something.
All right, this is podcaster / chef.
But buddy, here's the thing. So people are gonna watch the cooking portion of this video, like the next video that I release, because I released the recipes. People are gonna watch it and they're gonna say, "Oh, that guy's not a chef at all." Yeah, I'm not. I'm not a chef, but I like to cook. So you can take these recipes, you can leave them, make them better, than me, and leave them in the comments, please. That would be amazing.
This could be your next Super Bowl.
I'm just saying,
recipe
this could be
for somebody out there.
See, and I feel like meatballs get left off of the menu a lot, right?
I don't know, because sometimes they just put them in the crock pot and they put like the frozen ones in there. These were from scratch.
They were from scratch.
I saw.
You came over early. You saw me making them. Like I made them. They're not out of a bag, so you're getting something fresh, man. So let's give these a shot. Tell me what you think, man. And absolutely, man. Obligatory cheers.
Cheers.
Give it a shot, man. They're pretty good.
They are. You can taste that Dijon in there.
Mm-hmm. So here's a crazy thing. I had to make my own Dijon mustard today because I went in the fridge, thought I had some. I only have whole grain. Not the same. So I had to make it. So I figured it out, man. I threw some vinegar, some honey, all of it over the mustard that came in the jar. Actually came out pretty good. Man.
Homemade meatballs with homemade mustard.
Halfway. It's cheating homemade. But
also what I love the best is that I get to use my hands.
That's it.
My wife always makes fun of me of like, stop eating with your hands. And I got my son to do it. My dad does it. And I get to use my hands.
It's primal.
Yeah, see?
It's primal. And also, when you have a beard, you can just, no one's going to know.
Yeah.
Save it for later.
Hide it.
You can fit probably 3 of them in your beard but if you try.
They blend in somewhere.
They do, man. I got to make them a little bit darker next time. But we'll snack on these throughout the show. Snack on it throughout the show. It's good, man. At least we'll be full, hopefully, by the end of it. But before I get into all the crazy stuff, I have to hit you with a couple of rapid fire food questions.
Let's do it.
And I'm very excited about it. Okay. All right. Right out of the gate. Does pineapple belong on pizza?
No. Sorry.
No. Why?
It just became a thing. I don't know. I just like, give me the meats pizza. All the meats.
Okay, that's fair.
Fruit I eat on the side, no veggies, all meats.
Fair. What is the best appetizer that exists? When you go into just a regular restaurant, what is the best one?
Oh, man. It has to be something with meat.
Of course.
If it's going to be a taqueria, it's going to be, what's the appetizer? Fajitas. So you're going to get
the audacity to order fajitas as an appetizer is crazy.
But of course, chips and salsa. But okay, chips and salsa.
Okay.
That's everywhere.
Yeah, but what do you like? What's your favorite?
It's going to be chips and salsa or some sort of meat. That's why it's either going to be meatballs, fajitas, or we're feeling crazy, we go backwards and we do dessert for an appetizer.
I love that. My grandma used to do that, and I never took her up on it until one day I just happened to get it. It's such a good idea.
Dude, I think parents should do it because you got your kids there. They're doing all the things, trying to get them to like focus. And again, We like engaging. We don't just give like phones or iPads.
Mhm.
So we'll take card games. We'll take Uno to the restaurant
Mhm.
and we'll play. But to really get your kids' attention, it's just let's order dessert for um, for an appetizer.
Mhm.
Done, and they love it. So it gets their attention, and it's the
It's
best thing
amazing.
ever.
It's the way to go, is
Try
what you're
it.
telling me.
Yeah.
That's fine. So, finally, what is a snack from your childhood that is your absolute favorite? It could be like a manufactured one that
Oh,
somebody made for you.
snack from my childhood. Man,
I'm gonna have to eat some of these as we're talking about
it's
this.
ice cream. We ate a lot of ice cream. Um, I don't even know the name of it anymore. It was like the three different flavors: the chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla.
Ne- Neapolitan,
Yeah, that. We used to just get that big
or Napoleon, as my wife calls
Napoleon. Yeah, you know what? There you
it.
go.
Have you been doing it this whole time too?
Maybe I believe so.
Like,
I
man,
did.
that guy was a really bad guy, but boy, could he make a
You
good ice
make.
cream. He knows his way around a
We would get
creamery.
that like 5 gallon tub thing my
Yeah,
mom would buy, and we would just devour that thing.
I love it.
So ice cream was a big thing in our home.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's a happy home right there.
Now
Some
I
ice
know
cream.
the real name to it because I was going to say that, but I wasn't sure. But you said it first,
I took
so I'll take
I
it.
took your, I stole your thunder, bro.
No way. You saved me for calling it the wrong name.
No, man. I actually was just trying to get you on something,
Yeah.
man. I'm like, man, I
No,
can't trip Rob up.
no,
with
but
anything.
that one, like, I just remember my mom would always put like a big tub and it came clear. Then that tub would turn into like a leftover holder.
Yeah.
So you never know when you open the fridge, you don't know what's in that tub anymore.
Mhm. That's
It could be whatever.
that's fair. No, man.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So, well, I love the stuff about the food, man. I really want to talk about you, right? We're here to talk about how you navigated these transitions you made in life, and you made a lot of them, big ones. So, tell me a little bit about, like, what did your life look like before you made that transition, right? Before you decided to make a change, take that leap of faith. What did your life look like?
Well, the big transition came where, out of high school, you don't even know what you want to do. And people ask me, what do you want to be when you grow up? I didn't even know. It so happened that I did get a pretty cool job. I've always had cool jobs.
Yeah.
Um, I worked at Sony Semiconductory making PlayStation 1s.
Are you serious?
The little chips that came in there.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Dude.
That was super cool.
Did,
You wear like this ninja smock suit with like headgear. You never knew what somebody looked like
yeah,
because they were covered head to toe in
like
gear.
Squid Games.
Yeah, exactly. Man, so it was great.
I had a PlayStation 1. It was my first game console.
Glad it worked.
Buddy. Yeah. It
Oh,
was
man.
amazing. I lived on that thing from such a young age, man. It's so cool that you did that, man. So you you went from this, and I remember you telling me that you went to this work because you said they started laying people off, right?
Yeah, they're closing it down. So
And was that here?
it was
In
here.
this-
So the National Land Home Security Building
Mhm.
off of 410 and like military,
Okay.
that used to be Sony Semiconductory.
Wow.
So when they
no
started
idea.
laying people off, they had like a little job fair,
Mhm.
and I saw Texas Workforce. They had it like over 21, under 21.
Yeah.
I was 19,
Mhm.
so I went over there. I jammed with the lady. We were talking, and they were looking for people under 21 to go back to school. And I just really looked into the program. She said everything's free, books, gas, as long as you got a C or better. And I'm like, done. I was a C student in high school, but just knowing that opportunity was there.
It's crazy because that's like a scholarship. I mean, that's essentially a scholarship, but
It
without being in
was.
school. I wonder if any programs like that still exist.
Maybe. This was again back in, bro, like 2001.
There
No.
it is.
Yeah. 2001? Yeah, like
Yeah.
2001, 2002.
Yeah.
Um,
The good old days.
but I really just like dove into that, and I went to school, graduated,
Mhm.
and then just being nice to the lady. She's like, you can still do it again because you're under 21.
Mhm.
Did it again.
Mhm.
Did it again. So I actually went back to school twice, 2.5 times with them. The halftime, I'm like, all right, this is a bit much.
Mhm.
But just that opened the door in so many places because it was free education. And I never have gotten the best grades ever. I went from B, C ish high school student to Dean's List, all A's.
Wow.
because I really just saw it and took advantage of it.
See, I think it's crazy too, man, because there's so many people today. Like I can tell you, when I went to college, I didn't care about it. Like I went and I got it. So initially, I went and I wanted to go pre med,
Yeah.
and it was so dumb because I got to school and I took my first semester of chemistry and I did fine in it, but I realized I'm like, I don't actually like this. This is all this is. I don't think I should do this. So I changed it up. I decided to go, okay, well, maybe I'll get a degree in business.
Yeah.
Right. That's pretty versatile. I went in there, took some classes, had to take a business calculus class, and I learned, I'm like, I don't like this either. I don't like it. I understand that business is necessary, but a lot of what you learn in business
Yeah.
that I've seen is through experience. It's not necessarily through a textbook or a course.
Yeah.
You know.
It has great foundation. Same thing. I did take chemistry,
Hmm.
so I have a degree in chemistry, and that's what I love now is like I can read the labels
Hmm.
of things, and
Hmm.
people are like, "How did you know that big word or do this?" And especially in the fitness industry with all the pre-workouts and stuff, I love just bring me your thing, read it, and I'm like, you don't want to take that.
Buddy,
So I did the same thing, but math is my jam. Like I just really enjoyed it, and so like with the numbers,
mhm,
it was like I just really let the numbers take me down my path of
mhm.
like jobs.
That's awesome, man. So you were doing this, you were going to school, you got tons of education, and you were, man, that's amazing that you were able to get that kind of education again for not having to pay for it, man. That's so special.
That was a blessing, man. That's why I think I just really dove into the books is because it literally didn't put weight on my parents,
Hmm.
didn't put weight on me. Well, it did put weight on me, but not financial weights. All I had to do was show up,
Hmm.
be a decent student, and get a C or better.
Hmm.
Bro, that's nothing,
That's true.
you
That's true,
know?
man. That's very, very true. So you went, you got this degree. What happened afterwards? What did you decide to do after
So I was sitting in the dean's office, right? So just being nice to people, I became friends with
that?
one of the deans in the engineering department. And back then, that's when like the interweb was first coming
Brand
out.
new.
So we didn't get the cool Indeed, all that. We had a binder.
You had AOL chat too,
Of,
didn't you?
it probably just
I
started.
know you did.
Get the AOL CDs in the mail.
Hmm.
So we had binders. I
Oh
think
yeah.
Monster had first developed.
Wow.
So I was in there flipping through a binder, and this lady walks in, and I had just finished an architectural course,
Hmm.
and they had the drawings out because they were looking over them, see which ones they're gonna hang in like the hallway.
Hmm.
And she's like, "Who drew that?" He was like, "He did." Got a job working at designing HEBs,
Really?
designing the doors for each. Like that was super cool, man. Like when
That's
you
awesome.
walk into the doors, and be like, "Man, I did that.
I,
I had a hand in that."
see this? This was me.
Yeah, and I had no clue what I was doing, but it was fun.
Yeah.
So that just kind of trickled. It went from like HEB to the company that designed the doors for HEB, then to Frederick's Air Conditioning, so like
Hmm.
hotels, things like that, designing air conditioners for homes,
Hmm.
hotels. Then from there, I think it was like KCI, which is a medical company.
Hmm.
Then from there, went to Microsoft. So the Microsoft server building right here off of Wiseman
Hmm.
in 151.
Hmm.
That was my first big architectural building,
Was it really?
and I had zero clue. So hopefully to this day, I had no idea what I was doing, but it's still was standing and working. They
Um,
had asked me, and I was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, done. I can do that." First day on the job, I was like, "Oh my god, I don't know what to do,"
hyperventilating, dude. Yeah.
but I did what I knew best was be nice and talk to people.
Yes.
So it was just learning from these old cats to be like, "Hey man, like if you had to do this, what would you do?"
Hmm.
And just take notes and listen, take notes, listen, and that's when it really kind of excelled and started.
It takes a big degree of humility and being humble to be able to do that to yourself and accept the fact that, man, I don't actually know everything.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that when you seek out that help and you ask other people, you're like, hey, man, you know, I'm in this
Mhm.
position. You've obviously, especially people older than you,
Yeah.
right? I'm seeking your counsel. I'm seeking your advice on this. Like, man, what would you do? You've been here before. You've been
Yep.
around, and I think it's a respectful thing because again, it first starts with taking that humble stance, like, hey, like I don't know anything, and accepting the fact that you
Yeah.
don't know everything.
And that's all it was, man. It's just like once you just are nice to people and talking to them, man, they'll extend their help and just dump knowledge. So I was in my early 20s when all this was happening.
Hmm.
So yeah, I didn't know much. I came from, the southwest side of town.
Hmm.
So my thing was, hey, let me just talk to people.
Yeah.
That's all I did. And I learned and learned. And I still do that now, even with you. Like I
Yeah.
talk to you and I we jam, ask questions, but I'm also downloading everything. So I'm super intentional now of one who I learned from back then. It was just mentor, finding, reading, doing this, just being around that group of people. But being the youngest one in those type of fields, I mean, obviously had a lot of negative effects
Hmm.
in there because, the throughout this path, I was probably the or maybe one or two of like Hispanics in this big engineering of Caucasian departments.
Hmm.
So it'd be a whole bunch of white dudes
Hmm.
and the young brown kid.
Ah, those white dudes.
Um, so yeah, but again, I still never shied away from learning from them or asking them questions. Even some of these dudes were just old and grumpy.
Hmm.
I found a way to like poke and like joke with them. So they're like, okay, I like this kid.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, that's all I
Did you ever find a way to, like,
did.
were there any things that you encountered where you were like, it was blatantly obvious that they were like, man, like, forget this kid, man. Like, he doesn't know what he's doing. And I guess, how did you overcome that?
So the biggest one is actually a little reverse. That when I was working for a company, all the again, all the white people were inside in the office,
Yeah.
all the Hispanics were outside in the shop,
Hmm.
and I was inside. Bro, I got more heat from the Hispanic people than I did from the people inside. I got called all the names. I got everything. I'm like, whoa, we're supposed to be homies. Like,
Yeah.
why are you dogging me like that? And it wasn't until I stood up for myself and be like, look, man, it was your choice. You had choices.
Hmm.
We had the same choices. We live in the best country in the world. You have choices. You have choices right now that you can go back to school or learn or somehow make your way up into here versus, having a 19, 20-year-old, 21-year-old telling you what to do.
Hmm.
And that was the biggest thing is having somebody that young kind of tell you what to do in that
Hmm.
in that position. These guys didn't like it at all.
Hmm.
So I was always caught in the middle. They would speak Spanish and making fun of the people inside, and they were like, "What did he say?" He's telling me that you're the nicest guy ever. Which obviously that's not what he said. And then vice versa of like having okay now go outside and tell so and so that I need this. So I got a lot of backlash at the beginning, but when I got into bigger roles in the engineering field, um, then yes, it was that they didn't like the way I looked. They didn't like my beard. They didn't like the way I dressed. And these are like, you have to remember the era that these guys came from, right there 75, 80, 85-year-old engineers
Hmm.
that have done their time are eventually going to retire. Like, man, you're 85 years still working?
Hmm.
But they're just super smart. And I loved them, but it was them learning to adapt to me, but also me adapting to them. But it was good though. Once I made jokes and I found that little niche, man, I used to play jokes on them all the time. And I met some of the best people, the best mentors that were super grumpy that did not like anything about me.
Yeah.
Be great, like down the line, like they're just so nice to me.
You know that saying, what is it? Honey gets you further than vinegar.
Yeah,
And I think that still holds true to this day, right? That saying as old as time, whatever, but that still holds
yeah,
true to this day. And I can relate to you, man, especially about the fact of being one of the younger people in a field full of people sometimes twice your age, man. Like, like that was on the police department. That was one of those things when I went through the academy. I think I turned 22 in the academy. No, I was 22. I turned 23 in the academy. And I was one of the youngest people in my class. And then whenever I
yeah,
graduated that on the department, I mean, you look around, you see dudes that are 40, 50, 60
yeah,
years old and they're still working. And so you do have to earn that respect in a
yeah,
sense, especially when you're a new guy in a field like that. I think that, again, kind of going back to being humble and almost you almost kind of take their power away, especially when you give them some of that self-deprecating humor.
yeah.
Like, I don't know. I understand what you're
Like
saying,
it
man.
makes you a little angry inside, but then you really have to harness like what. if I give them a response that's a negative, like what is it really gonna do?
If they see it bothers you, they're just gonna keep going at you.
Yeah. It wasn't until I was transitioning out of that big role that was very a lot more forward with people
Yeah.
and asking them like, um, why don't you like me?
Mhm.
Right there, right in front of them.
Direct, intentional.
And they're like, I went, no, no, I do like you. I'm like, come on, man. Like, I'm about to leave. Like, you can at least tell me, like, what did I ever do to you to treat me the way you did? And they never told me, but still, it wasn't until that I really started like, all right, cool, I'm ready to exit out.
Mhm.
Let me ask. I've always wanted to know this, right? Curious.
Yeah.
What was it about me? And one guy was just, I just don't like you. Hey, man,
At least
fair
you're
enough.
honest.
Yeah, love it. Thank you. I wish you the best, but thank you for being honest.
Yeah.
So it was those things.
When you put people on the spot like that too, man, I think not necessarily, it doesn't mean you have to cuss them out or anything, but
Yeah,
when I think when you put them on the spot and you're like, hey, no, kind of call you out. It's like, hey, dude, what's up? Like, why don't you like me? Like, have I done something?
yeah,
And when you do that, then people realize that a lot of the times they'll realize I don't actually have a reason not to like this guy. That's
yeah.
the crazy thing.
It was either they might have felt that I was gonna, take their job, or it was something. And now that again, when I started really going back and thinking of why these things happened, is that the company I worked at is on the edge of like the west side as well.
Hmm.
So when some of these we would have meetings and some of these guys are trying to hit 2, 3, 4, 5 mil, 10 mil, 20 mil projects, I'm just going across the street on the west side and picking up 100K, 200K. So when
Right.
we're going to these meetings, they got nothing,
Mm.
and I got like six that equal like a mil.
Hmm.
Like, what are you doing? Where are you going? I'm like, bro, I'm just going across the street.
Mm.
I'm just talking to people,
Hmm.
picking up these contracts with these small mom and pops.
Hmm.
And sometimes it was so close, I would walk. Didn't have to drive.
Really?
The building I was at was at the end of the gate. So I would just walk and then walk down the street and go walk around and talk to so and so. Hey, this is what I do. I work over here.
Hmm.
You have anything that we can build for you? Because we're like the R&D side, so we're just more one-off stuff.
Hmm.
So if you wanted something to like this cup to be made, like you just give us all the designs and your thoughts, and we would produce one or two. And is that what you like? Cool. And then you go find like your mass suppliers to create those cups.
Right. That makes sense. You were so involved in this. Did you ever see yourself leaving that field of like engineering, being able to do that?
No, man, I loved it. It was super cool. I got to see and do all types of things. Um, it went from like gas plants, Boeing, Lockheed Martin to the military to even things now like you see them now like the robot dogs and stuff.
Bro, you
Like
didn't make no robot dog.
I made a robot dog,
Oh.
the one that you couldn't even kick it over, and like it always stayed
Yeah.
up and carried. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was parts of that. Like it
That's
was,
so cool.
dude, it was super fun. And you see some of the coolest things. Like, what do you do? I do like Batman stuff.
That is.
Every kid wants to do Batman stuff. So it
Oh
wasn't
yeah.
until I got into there, it was like, man, like this is like Batman stuff. I want to be here.
Yeah.
And I never had a huge office,
Hmm.
and it had double windows. I was like, man, I made
That's
it.
it, Bruce Wayne, baby.
That's it. I made it. I'm gonna look out my window, and yeah, it was the parking lot,
Yeah,
but you had deer run
that's
by.
beautiful.
I had like a bush with like flowers. You see birds. I'm like,
You feel like Snow White whenever she goes
yeah.
Sleeping Beauty when she goes out into the birds come and all
It
that
was
stuff.
cool, man. I really loved it. But then, of course, like things happen always.
Yeah, man. And on that, what was that moment for you when you realized, okay, it's time for a change. I can't stay here anymore.
It really came to where I became a father late in life at 35.
Mhm.
Um, so when I had to understand that, what that looked like, we're getting great company, but they didn't give very many like um, days off for like kids. Was it maternity leave?
Mhm.
So I had like one dad day, one,
That's it.
one,
One
and I was
dad
like,
day.
you get one day? Like I get one? So I started using like my vacation,
Yeah.
and then you could also buy vacation from people. So say you didn't like going anywhere.
Hmm.
Like, cool, Trevor, like, let me buy your vacation from you
Hmm.
at like a certain dollar amount.
Mm.
So I started buying. Then of course, like just things like happen after like pregnancy and you have a baby. So then it really became family focused.
Right.
So I really saw my exit when I had to make a decision, I needed to be out a little longer, and I already used all my vacation. I bought everything that I could, from people. My boss asked me to come to work. I went to work for like one day. I got all my work done. I passed it on because, hey, I got these projects. Can you take care of so and
Hmm.
so? Um, so I asked him, I need some more time because of doctor's orders. I need some more time. And when I went to his office, he had two folders. One was red and one was yellow. You would think red would be bad, but red's not bad. It was the yellow one. And I did ask him straight up, I was like, are those mine? He's like, yes. Here, you can stay. Here, you got to go. And I was like, oh, dang. Like, that's what we're doing. So that's
Yeah.
when, like, shield came off, and I was very honest. I said, sir, you have a family? He said, yes. You got 3 kids? He said, yes. What would you do for your family? What would you pick? And he paused. And with that pause, I said, let me see that yellow one. Signed it. And I said some very nice words, and I gave him the folder back. He signed it, and I took the folder with me because the position I was in, I had to go around to different departments and get like declassification, so I had to sign things. So that was that pivotal point where his pause and the fact that I couldn't have that extra time for my family when he started in the same position I did long time ago and worked his way up. Um, and I always saw myself in him, like, man, if he can get there, I can be in that position one day. And nope, it was that I was like, it's not for me anymore.
How did that feel having that conversation? Because that's,
A
did you know what you were walking into?
little bit,
Okay.
because there were some transitions. Obviously, the position I was in, it was very government funded, so we needed government funding.
Right.
At the president at the time wasn't a big military president, so that's where a lot of our projects came from. So from having this fancy office with two jumbo windows with the deer and the flowers,
Yeah.
right, the Snow
Yeah.
White thing,
Yeah.
I got put into like a warehouse lab, which was still cool because I still had to go out there, and those were the dudes that made what I did all the drawings and I did all the engineering work, and then I would pass it on to them. They'll kind of make this come to life. So they kind of played it as, well, at least you're closer to them. I was like, bro, I can just walk outside. But anyway, so they had an office in there, and I moved in there. But the guys in there also didn't know. It was like the same effect I was telling you, where I was going back and forth between the shop and the engineering back in my early days. Now I was in the mix with these guys. They didn't know my schedule. They didn't know what my day looked like. So I would show up, do a few things, pass it on to them, check in with them. But I also work for different departments, like a robotics department, aeronautical department. Like, so I would have to go to all these places. Well, I was kind of like 70% never in my office because I'm working in these other areas. Well, they kind of saw it as like, oh, he's never here. So they kind of started throwing me under the bus. I'm like, dude, you don't even know what I do. Anyway, I thought we were cool. Like, we've been working together like 15 years, and now you're asking me, like, what's up with that?
Yeah.
So again, that started happening again. It just like brought me back all the way to 19, 20, 21 years old. So that's when I kind of like, oh man, like, it's not for me anymore.
Right. And you kind of had an idea that you were walking into this situation, but maybe when you walked into the office, man, you see folder one, folder two. Did it hit you in that moment? Like, was it the gravity of it? Like, oh, this is it.
Yeah. When again, that's why I asked, are those mine? Because again, like, those folders just don't come out for any reason.
Right.
And once I kind of moved into that space outside, then thrown under the bus, and I personally never like dimed anybody out. I mean, obviously,
You can't be snitching.
back in the
Man.
day,
You can't
you can't be the
No,
snitch.
you can't be snitching.
So
man.
I'm like, you know what? If things are gonna happen, they'll find out on their own. It doesn't need to come from me. Like,
Sure.
I'm not about that. I just
Sure.
came to do what I'm supposed to do now. But yeah, that's why I asked that question, because them folders don't come out. So when I got that folder, and again, I had to go walk around and get it signed off. I had to go up to like human resources, and again, it was these little parts that I got in the elevator. The president of the whole company walked in, and again, that yellow folder just don't come out for nothing.
Yeah.
So besides, I had a big beard at the time, so he asked me like, oh, cool beard. You know, we started talking about beards.
Yeah.
The next question he asked me was, why do you have that photo, son? And I was like, oh, because I was still young.
He added son on it
And
too, huh?
when you're in there, you don't leave. Like the at the time, like the layoff was like -1.
That's crazy.
You had to do crazy things to get
Yeah.
fired. So when he saw that, he asked me, I really want to word vomit and just like throw everybody under the bus. I'm like, no, that's not my character. I just told him, sir, I've been here 15, 16 years. I think it's just time for a change.
Mhm.
That's all I said. He looked at me. He's like, okay. He walked away.
Did it hurt to withhold all that stuff back?
It didn't hurt, but like, you know how sometimes you just like, you want to throw, people did so many things to you, like you want to do it to them.
Yeah.
Um, but I just knew it wasn't the right thing. So it
Mhm.
didn't hurt. It just bothered me a lot that now after 11 years, 12 years, I talk about it more, but it was like because I make jokes of it. But it didn't hurt. It's just like I had to work my way up in this chain, you know, coming from the side of town I came from to
Mhm.
being in this cool spot and you're
Mhm.
doing all these cool things. To now it just kind of gone to like a small identity thing for a bit, right? Because I built this identity of just like learning, engineering, this, that, being in this spot, doing these things, doing Batman projects.
Yeah.
Well, what do I do now?
Yeah.
Right. So it did hurt a little bit, but that's when just navigating
When
happened.
same thing happens with, I think, police officers specifically, and like, when these professions where they can become your identity, because it's so cool. Like, you do a lot of cool stuff, and it's something that you can say that not very many people do. And so I think it's hard too whenever your identity gets tied up to that. So whenever
Yeah.
things in that environment start to hurt you in your personal life, and start to bring you down, I think it's hard to let go, because letting go of that would also mean, well, I can't identify with this thing anymore. I was this, but I'm not going to be. So what's
Yeah.
more important, me claiming that I'm this, or doing what's actually best for me?
Yeah.
You know, what do you think? I mean, you walked out of that office with the yellow folder. What what was the hardest part about starting over?
The hardest part of starting over was I don't know what to do.
Yeah,
What's next?
yeah,
I had just again, I had a son late in life.
hmm,
I already had a career, so you think, oh man, I'm gonna retire from here.
yeah,
How do I provide? Well, again, just making a lot of money. Yes, I spent a lot of money on ridiculous things,
yeah,
but I saved a lot of money because my dad taught me to save, save,
hmm,
save, 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 save. So I knew we're okay, and I can provide for my family.
hmm,
Um, but what are some next steps? Well, it so happened like, rewind during the time I obviously got into fitness, working out, and this opportunity to kind of like run a gym
hmm,
came about. So a business,
hmm.
I knew zero business at all, zero, big fat zero. Had zero business mentors. I knew numbers based off my work, but zero about business. I'm like, cool. I can have a clubhouse
Yeah.
with some friends, and there's people there already. So I ended up buying. So I was part owner of a gym
Hmm.
while I was still working there. So when I did get laid off, I didn't think actually I was going to even run or own or anything with this gym. I said, okay, here's this business. I know zero. All right, well, let's do the thing.
Hmm.
Just like that, there was very little pause because I'm like, I don't have time to sit here and dwell and cry and do all the things. I need to provide. I think my son was like months old
Mm,
when this all happened.
mm,
So I just said, all right, let's do it.
hmm,
And did the grinding of the 18-hour days, 20-hour days,
hmm,
up at 3, get there at 5, open, be there because I had no staff.
hmm,
I just had friends, they all
mm,
had jobs. So I'm like, how do I even make this a business?
hmm.
And that's how my business venture started, was just like, all right, let's do it.
I love that.
That's it.
Forced to. You're almost forced into it. It's
It
like, well,
was
here we are. I don't have a choice.
right, fight or flight.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I'm not going to fight. I'm going to fight
Yeah.
because I need to provide.
Hmm.
And it just, so many things have blossomed just from that experience
Hmm.
to even sitting here with you now, like
Hmm.
tons of wisdom and stories, and being able to, now being older, I can guide some of these younger guys or
Hmm.
whomever that even likes to hear anything I have to say.
Yeah.
into how navigating just life and maybe losing a job or starting a career or a business has been a blessing, man.
Did you ever run into a moment where you thought, like, damn, I screwed up?
Yeah, all the time.
Do you want to hear
let's
just the
see.
ones from today, or do you want to hear?
Yeah. Not like, let me see, screwed up. Like screwed up. No, I mean,
I guess
sometimes
when you screwed up, or like you regretted your decision. I should have taken the yellow folder, or I should have taken the red folder.
no, because by doing that, um, opened my eyes. Okay, you asked me, did I feel hurt? I took that hurt now that I can think about it and be like, you know what? I don't ever want to feel that again.
Mm,
Let me control what I can control. Right. And when you work for a company or you work somewhere else, it could be anywhere, even McDonald's,
sure,
you can kind of control your hours through your availability.
sure.
You can't control who you work with because they just bring people in all the time, right? So you have very limited control. But the thing that is the safety net is that you work 40 hours, you're going to get a 40-hour paycheck.
Right.
Over here, when I in this business that I knew nothing of and how to run a business, I can control everything, but I also didn't know where the next paycheck was coming from. So that was the biggest shift, was like, oh man, I can control instant. There's no board. I'm the manager. Yeah. I'm the owner. Like, I'm the guy.
Right.
If somebody didn't like something, it can be an instant change. But how do I make money? Over here, I knew how to make money because I did the things.
Right.
But they were telling me what to do, or guiding me, or contracts or whatever. Over here was on me, no experience, no staff, no nothing.
Just you.
Just me in a business that knew zero business. So I really had to, what I have been doing the last 16 years that I can take to this area, and it was math. Math. First grade math. To this day, I will hands down say it's a win for everybody. First grade math, you can do anything.
You're going to be all right.
You're going to be all right. 2 plus 2?
Yeah.
And it's 4. 3 plus 1 is 4.
Yeah.
1 plus 1 plus 1 is 4.
Yeah.
Math don't lie. So I really just use my mathing skills.
That's actually great, man. That's, remember how everybody always said, you'll never have a calculator in your pocket when you're growing up, right? Oh, you're never going to have that. Well, joke's on you, ma'am. I do have the calculator. However, man, I think it's one of those things where, like, it's funny. That was my next question I was going to ask you. Like, what's something you took from that engineering background or that previous segment of your life and brought into this new one? But yeah,
I did, chemistry, advanced physics, thermodynamics, like all these amazing courses. But what got my business off the ground and what got everything going was first grade math.
Back to the basics, man. I love that.
That's what I took.
It's something as simple as that once you get really, really good at it, take you so far. When you started getting, I guess when you got out on your own and you had kind of started to get into the swing of things, what was a struggle that you were facing kind of early on in that segment after you changed? The
struggle was finding a mentor.
Oh.
Right. So there's a business. My cousin, which I still think to this day, man, he ended up also, I think he got laid off or was in the same position of wanting to leave his job. And he's like, I'm in it with you. He called me. He goes, I just left, headed over to the gym. Let's do the thing. And I was like, absolutely. But at the same time, like, I think I started this gym with like $5,000.
Wow.
Which is nothing.
No.
To start a business for $5,000 is nothing.
That's nothing at all.
So guess what? There's no capital for payroll. There's no this. I didn't pay myself for like the first 3 years of owning this gym. It was just living off of money that I saved that my dad had told me. So that was a big shift of like, how do I get staff? Where do I get payroll? How do I find a mentor that can teach me to get business loans if I needed them, or I needed a business mentor? So in San Antonio, anybody that I went to, especially in the gym space, it was like Bloods and Crips. Like, they're like, nope, because they're going to like steal my people. And I was like, no. I just want to know how you run your business. I just want to know how you do your things. Yeah. They found it strange that I would go to them and ask, can I just watch you throughout your day? Like, I want to be the shadow. I'm going to follow you. Because I just wanted to learn, because my early engineering days, that's what I did.
Right.
I followed people, talked to people, learned, asked questions. So I went back to the basics. Being nice, asking questions. So I ended up going to Austin. I would travel to Austin all the time. This guy said yes. And I would go sit in his meetings. I'll be the guy in the corner taking notes. Just how is he engaging with people? How is he engaging with his staff? What does the business look like? You know, people are like, well, in the gym fitness world, you can't make money. You can. But again, you have to see it as a business, even though it's a lot of personal relationships. So it was just that basics. First grade math, being nice to people. So going to Austin just to get mentored, and then I started bringing it back, started using it. Then I was like, you know what? What are some other common factors in any business? Math, right? Every business technically is ran the same. So do I need to find a gym person? Absolutely not. Started training this young kid, amazing baseball player. His dad owned a plumbing business. How do you do the thing? Started talking to them. So the guy next door that owns an auto body shop, how do you run your business? And that's how I learned business, was by, didn't have to do nothing with the gym. Plumber, painter, tax guy, auto collision. Just teach me your business, like education.
It's so smart that you talk to people in different industries too. And the fact that you were able to cipher through and see, hey, a lot of these have the same thing in common, right? It all comes down to, hey, do this first, do this second, do this third, have these things in order. And while the operations might be a little bit different, the lanes of focus are all the same.
It's a pattern
across every business.
The patterns are all the same.
Absolutely.
So again, coming from the research background, we learn patterns. We reverse engineer things. We would get things and take it apart. How did they make it? How do you put it back together?
Yeah.
So I did that with business. You're here at this stage. Let me reverse engineer your business on how it first started. Then I took that and I started building my own business.
That's amazing, dude.
Wow.
What's the biggest takeaway that you had from taking this leap of faith? Like the biggest lesson that you've learned?
Learn to be uncomfortable. Learn to be uncomfortable. Being comfortable, being uncomfortable. And that was my biggest takeaway, because again, I don't know everything. Even this day, I still don't know everything. And once I learned to be comfortable being uncomfortable, you kind of become unstoppable, because you become dedicated to not just your craft, but to yourself. And that's one thing, is being dedicated to yourself. Consistency. Again, motivation is great. And people always give me heat on this one, so maybe you can tell me what you think.
Okay.
So motivation is great, right? And motivation gets people going. And motivation gives you that fuzzy feeling inside.
Sure.
So when I ask people what's motivation to them, they kind of pause, and it's like, well, motivation gets me to drive, do this. So I even dumb it all the way down for myself. I'm like, motivation is a feeling. We don't feel motivated to do things every single day. So motivation can go away. So I use motivation to propel my dedication and consistency. That is always going to trump motivation. So to me, motivation kind of doesn't exist for me. So I mean, that's, everybody to each their own. But once you get past motivation, it's, the work is there, but it's dedication and consistency.
And I think also, first of all, that's great. Thank you. But I think also it's great because it's staying motivated, right? Because like you said, you're not always going to be motivated to get up and do everything.
Absolutely not.
Dude, I feel that 100%. But whenever I first left and like I started branching out of it on my own, I had this theory for this equation in my head. So you're going to like this, right? It was just consistency over time will yield you results. Even if you're consistent with being not great at something, right? Even if you're not that good, the people, like, you go on YouTube, you go to podcasts, or you go to even like some musical artists, right? It's like, no, their stuff may not even be the best around, but man, they've been doing this and putting out whatever it is that they're putting out over the span of however long they've said what they were going to do, and they did the thing, and they were consistent.
They're dedicated to the craft and the consistency. If you take no shots, you're going to score no points.
That's it.
Take the shot.
That's it.
You miss, you fine tune. Get closer. Shoot it. Hit the backboard. Do something.
For sure.
So just keep shooting the shot. You're going to make it.
Yeah.
But again, it's can you handle the misses?
Mm-hmm.
And with the misses, they don't see them as a miss, see it as a learning experience, right? When people say failure and being entrepreneurs and stuff like that, we're going to fail all the time. We'll probably fail daily.
Oh, yeah.
But when we take those and we turn them into lessons and we know that that outcome maybe didn't go the way it went, what happened? Right. So again, I turned my day, my losses, I turned all those things into math problems. But math.
Dude, that's great.
Math for me, it just goes backwards. What was the pattern? What happened in my day? How did I feel? Did I sleep enough? Did I eat enough? Okay, well, it's not
What
math.
are the variables?
What are the variables, right? Variables are going to consistently change. But also, too, you have control over those variables.
I was going to say, you have a control, maintain your control, add the variables as time goes on.
Even if you're still working for a company, are you late all the time? Are you waking up on time? Are you this? Like, what are you controlling in your personal life that can make this easier or, whatever that word is, but control what you control. You can't control the weather, but you control if you carry an umbrella.
That's true.
Just saying, you're going to get wet, but how wet do you want to get?
I was going to say, do you have an umbrella? Do you use it?
No, I don't.
I didn't think so. You don't strike me as an umbrella guy.
No, I don't. And then what was that one show? It's the two guys that debunk stuff all the time.
Which one?
It was like
Mythbusters?
Mythbusters. They did one where they said if you run in the rain, you actually get
more wet
than walking.
That's it.
So I don't run in the rain, just walk.
I don't walk. I don't carry an umbrella. I don't do anything. What's going to happen is going to happen, bro.
So you can't control those.
Yeah, you're right.
So have a good time. Don't be upset. Learn to take the losses. Turn them into lessons. And it's just really controlling your character when those situations happen. But also, too, again, learning to control your character is also who do you let speak into your life? Who do you hang with, right? Because you can be with some angry people that you're going to pop off because you've seen that and you've heard it. And that's part of that niche. But if you move with someone else and you learn to hang with, a group of people that are calm, they're problem solvers. So that's what I call myself in the businesses I'm in, is that I'm a problem solver. And I can't let these problems kind of control my emotions. So I can throw it down on paper, and I turn people, and that's how I would say turn to a very decent coach in the fitness space, is I turn people into math problems. Right? Your height, your weight, you're trying to do something.
You are.
You're a math problem.
That's true. It's all just math problems, man. Sounds like my worst nightmare, actually.
So
I love that, man. So I'm looking at these meatballs, and it makes me think we need to go into a rapid fire food segment.
Done.
Okay. You ready? Okay. Rank these: nachos, wings, sliders, or quesadillas. Rank them.
Okay.
1 to 4.
It would have to be, my wife's going to be upset. I'm going to go with the sliders, the wings, the nachos, then the quesadillas. But again, my wife's going to be upset because I put nachos in third place. Because when we go out to eat, she's like, nachos. I'm like, oh, fine.
If you want it.
But can we get fajitas on the nachos?
No, just nachos, just beans and cheese.
Well, we get half and half.
Fair.
We compromise.
That's a good compromise, but no, you got to get meat on the nachos.
Done.
Tortillas, flour or corn?
Ooh, right now, corn.
Right now?
Yeah, I picked, because I grew up on flour. A lot of things I grew up on, I don't eat now. So I don't eat corn. I don't eat flour tortillas. I go with corn.
That's fair. Okay, but
I just get tired of them.
The flour are good though.
They are,
but there's a time and a place.
There's a time and a place for flour.
What's the most overrated appetizer when you walk into a regular, just a chain restaurant? What is the most overrated appetizer in your opinion?
One of those samplers. They're just overrated.
Are you insulting the Chili's triple dipper?
It's just like a buffet of randomness, and it's like, okay, and then I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of
multiple things.
The multiple things, because why? I don't even want that.
But
Can I get more of this?
But if you asked for one thing in particular, let's say you didn't get 12 things at once.
Okay.
One thing in particular. First, I'm really offended by that question, so we might just have to end it here. But secondly, one category, because I can throw calamari and wings on the same platter. That doesn't go. I'll be upset. But I love them both individually.
Yeah. One that just doesn't go good, it would probably be like the spinach dip.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one. And everyone has that too. The artichoke and spinach. Yeah, dude.
No.
Do you think they would learn by now?
people still order it. So
No.
it's there.
That's
Not
very true.
not my favorite. If it does come on there, I'm like, I'll just take the chips.
If you had to eat one appetizer, or not one appetizer, one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Steak.
What kind?
Oh my God! See, now you're having steak wars here because I had picanha came to my mind.
Someone's been to Chamagaucha and some of those Brazilian
Ribeye,
steakhouses.
prime rib. Oh man, see, I don't even know. It's gonna be a battle.
Okay, now see, so here's the thing. So in the last podcast that I had with a buddy of mine, he was saying that he loves the steaks sous vide, I guess, which is a different way of cooking it. But he says the ribeyes, when he gets a ribeye, he will order it medium well because of the temperature that the fat renders. And I've never done that because you always hear people medium rare, medium rare. And I'm like, okay, cool. But I didn't realize that that was a thing to get medium well ribeye.
I learned that in California with while I was traveling with Pastor Daniel, his buddy.
Mm-hmm.
I ordered a ribeye, medium rare. He's like, whoa, homie. Paul, time out.
Really?
He said, let it cook longer because of fats.
Yeah.
And I was like, done. Bro.
Did it really change it?
Yes, it does.
Really?
You don't think about it. And I was like, never thought about it until he schooled me on that. And no, I ordered it. I think it was a medium well.
Dude.
And it was good.
So it's completely different. Because for me, like, I'm a texture guy. And like texture is bothering me. I hate gristle. I hate the super like chewy, like I can't do it. So I'm wondering if I tried that because I don't want to also go to a steakhouse, drop $30, $40 on a steak and then hate it.
We'll go together.
Okay.
And if you don't like it, I'll just eat your part.
That's fine. I'll order nachos.
It doesn't go to waste. With no meat, you can eat extra beans. But no, it does. Try it.
Yeah. It's good, dude. Okay, multiple. I'm getting the vibe now. I got to give it a shot, man. And we'll see. If you can go back and give advice to yourself, right, or someone in your shoes from years ago, what would it
be? Be coachable. Just in everything. Be coachable. Even if you know the answer, just listen. Because again, 2 + 2 is 4. Mm-hmm. But 1 + 1 + 1 is still 4. Mm-hmm. Right? So you have a different equation, but I mean, the equation is the same. The variables change.
There you go with that.
And that's again. Honestly, bro, I use that every day in life. Is like my equation is not going to change. Mm-hmm. But my variables throughout my day are going to change. Sure. My life is going to look different. My seasons are going to look different. Those are variables. Mm-hmm. But I still want to get this outcome.
Right.
What do I need to do?
That makes sense, man. What's an unexpected win that you had from leaving? Something just unexpected that came about that you're like, man, I'm so glad this happened to me.
The unexpected win is probably the relationships that I've made.
It's hard to put a price on that.
Very hard to put a price, man. The relationships, the people I've met, the conversations I had, the unamounts of wisdom and knowledge and education that you can just sit with somebody and just learn so much from them. Even if you feel that they are not right and you don't agree what they believe in, you can still take something from that convo. And so that's been my biggest win, is learning how to listen more and talk less, which is still hard.
You and me both. It's hard being on a podcast and having to say that, right?
Yeah, it's just hard. I love talking.
Yeah, and I love that. That makes my job easy.
Yeah.
Rob, what's next for you, man?
Honestly, what's next is me and a buddy of mine, we started a telehealth medical practice. So that's next on my list, is learning a lot from that. And again, just being around this dude. Amazing man, amazing father, amazing friend, amazing doctor. So just taking in all that wisdom on like medical, right?
Sure.
I've never came from that side, so we're kind of collaborating.
But it affects us all.
It affects us all. So I'm learning a lot of the medical things, and guess what they use? They use math. So
shocker.
Yeah, right. See? So that's next on the list on that venture, is creating that avenue for people, and just really showing them a realist, dedicated health profession. So like, we don't take insurance because he wants to be able to heal you and take care of you the way he wants to, versus having insurance tell him what to do. So that's the next avenue right now. And again for myself is finishing my book. It's been on the shelf for about a year.
Yeah.
And I have to get back into it. So much to add, and there's been so much growth that maybe it wasn't time for me to finish.
Maybe.
And it's still going to be a short read. I'm going to try to keep it under 60 pages because, again, I want to impact people that I never really liked reading. Now I'm a big reader, but you give somebody a 60-page book on somewhat of a how-to and to navigate, they're going to read it. It's 60 pages with pictures. Done.
Buddy, I'm sold.
Right?
If you throw in some coloring sections in there and attach a couple pencils, buddy,
I'll throw a pen and pencil in there, man.
I'll be first in line.
So
where can people go and support what you're doing and find you to keep up with what you're doing and learn about you?
So right now, social media platforms, obviously Facebook, Instagram, it's 4F. So the number 4, the letter F.
Okay.
Lifestyle SA on Facebook and Instagram. And then on the other side there, you'll find all the other business ventures I'm in. Then you have performance medicine, and that's will be launching soon as well. So be performancemedicinemd.com. That'll be coming out.
Yeah.
But right now, the best way is 4F Lifestyle SA on Instagram and Facebook.
Got it. Dude, thank you so much for coming on. This has been so cool, man. You are a well of just wisdom. Your experience is unmatched, man. And it's very hard to find people who have gone through those things in life that you've come through. And the way you've attacked them, and the way you've overcame those things, the way you made your transitions, and most importantly, how humble you are about it, and your humility, man. That goes a long way, and especially people in those careers. Yes, dude. It's very hard to do what you've done. So thank you for sharing this wisdom. Thank you for sharing all of this stuff, man. It's amazing. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I've got to meet you down this track. Who would know that I would be sitting here with you?
Who knows, dude?
And not just on it, we're actually friends.
We are. We're homies in real life. That's the crazy thing.
So that's the thing, is like you don't know where it's going to take you, and just hearing your story and being around you, man, like it's a blessing in itself. So I thank you and everything you're doing, and your amazing cooking. And that might be your next venture.
It might be.
And again, man, you're doing amazing things. I'm proud of you.
Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that. If you do want to learn about how I made this, that recipe video is going to be dropping in a couple of days. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe button as you watch Rob devour the rest of these meatballs. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Take care. What'd you think, dude?
Oh, good. I love it.
Yeah?